Greetings. This is Robert Forsch with the YouTube channel Truth. Wanted to go ahead and show you what it looks like here. The sun is approaching from the middle of the view in the northeast and will set in the northwest in the middle of the view. And we've got the moon high in the sky right up in the middle of the view there. I've got zoomed in video of that and more. You can see lots of interesting content on my YouTube channel Truth. If you care to, you can hashtag my name or hashtag YouTube Truth. And what I wanted to do is take us for a drive on into the ocean, which basically that's about straight south right there. Okay, and how much I'll be able to show you of the moon later, I don't know. What I will show you is a zoomed in view. I want to help you see through the global lie and a whole lot more. And this right here is the P1000 that I'll mount on the top of my I'll mount this recording device, my iPhone 10, on the top of that when I take us out to the ocean. I wanted to take us for a drive on in to establish the time it takes, the path I run, and let you see what this looks like. And I previously have had some people blocked. I unblocked everybody, including check this out, including Mark Zuckerberg. Isn't that special? It's not that he was harassing me or anything, not directly anyway. And I'm gonna explain some of the dynamics of what I found out, what I've come to believe to be true, some of the social dynamics. I also have made it possible for everybody to comment that wants to. So now all my public posts, I've removed commenting from friends only to anybody. How about that? We'll see how that goes. If you think there's an emergency I need to be aware of, go ahead and let me know. But what has happened is character assassination and accusations of things that are untrue about me. And that was one of the reasons why I blocked them. I didn't want it to distract from the discussion of what I'm about. I want to expose the reality of the world that we live in. I believe I'm doing that. I know I am. And one of the dynamics of that is the simplicity of reality. I didn't show you something that I want to, and I'm going to take us out and explain what that is. Okay, so I've got this on some of my other broadcasts. There's very little wind movement, like less than a mile an hour or so. And where in the world could a wind chime hang upside down in relationship to other wind chimes? Well, only in the imagination. That's where the globe exists. That's why I'm outing the system. That's why I'm doing that. Okay, so just to be clear, the sun is approaching from there and will set right there. That is a very interesting path for the sun to be running over the stationary Earth. The moon, now see how easy that is to see? Well, let's see if I can help you out a little bit. There you go. And what I want to show you is the path that it will run. It came up over here and will do this. So it is obviously running a different path over the stationary Earth. One of the reasons why I have the YouTube Truth Mobile, well, I can tell you it isn't to put more food on the table, because all the stickers, all the logos, the shirts that I wear, I pay for that out of my own pocket. I have to earn money to do that. Done well in real estate. I'm an entrepreneur. I have been for years. And there's a lot of entrepreneurs, and some people are focused on ways to make money as a primary focus of their life, and mine is different. I have a different focus of my life. I'm a new creature in Christ, and I'm going to unpack some of the details of the cybernetic collective that artificial intelligence utilizes, basically to perpetuate a false reality, to create a hive mind of deception, basically. Yeah, now you can see my logo a little bit better. I'm going to activate the defrost strip. That temperature differential will cause the water to evaporate off of that. Do you know how much a gallon of water weighs? Well, it depends. It depends on the temperature. The temperature changes density and volume of water. Basic science. So I've got some interesting videos on my channel, and I want to go ahead and drive us on in, show you what this looks like from here. I get different reports on the estimated elevation of my driveway, around 10 feet, as best I can tell. That's what I observe, and sometimes I get different readings depending on whether I'm on Wi-Fi or cellular data. So the sun is running a different path now. It's moving back south. It changed a couple days ago, and you can look at different data estimations on the appearing of the sun when the sun appears at a location. I use the Tides Near Me app, and it's very accurate in this area so far that I've been able to determine. Yeah, just a little bit of water on the windshield affects the visibility in a big way. We can't see through much water. That's one of the things. That's one of the reasons why we can't see all the way across the ocean and see continents, even with the most powerful telescopes. Yet we can see stars. Therein lies one of the interesting things. Stars, the sun, and the moon. According to Job 37, the sun is in the midst of the clouds. The moon appears to be about the same size as the sun. Okay? And what's interesting about that is I just shot a video yesterday that is 9 minutes and 11 seconds long. Unintentional by me. Might have been intentional by God. What I wanted to help you to understand is that it appears that the moon is very close to the clouds, and so I've got a lot of captures of that particular appearance. I would say anomaly, but it's not necessarily anomaly when Scripture says that's where it is. The sun is in the midst of the clouds. It appears that the moon is as well. We observe I experience a stationary Earth. I just saw the sun over my shoulder, and I'm going to show you where it is from this perspective. Okay. By the way, I keep my eyes on the road. I've got peripheral vision I can do this with. And a little aid from my AI system of, how would we say, cruise control. That little body of water is pretty calm, pretty flat, and level. Keep in mind there would be no level anywhere if this world were moving, spinning, wobbling, gyrating. This is all pretty basic for some of you. Hey, for others of you, you can comment now. What are you going to do with that? And I wanted to let my friends know that as well, because it could very well be that some bullies jump out and say, hey, I haven't seen him for a while. Wonder what I had blocked a few because they were lying about me. And I just thought, well, I've got other things to do. I'm just going to block them. I blocked Mark Zuckerberg, kind of like a humorous thing. It was kind of funny. Okay, so I'm going to take us into Bridgewater for a little bit, just briefly. It's a home development that is beautiful. Recently, well, they've been working on it for a while, and it was on the drawing boards, I'm sure, for years. It was a golf course, and then it was bought by a large corporation, and then they decided to grade it and put homes there. So the public works projects are created basically to on a grade that will allow water to drain away from the house, and yet will allow the plumbing to take wastewater to the treatment plant. It's just the way that it is. This may sound Captain Obvious. Good for you. If it's obvious to you, that's just great. It's not so obvious for a lot of people. A lot of people are unaware of some of the dynamics of the world that we live in, including some of the basics of just development. Okay, so we've got the sun coming up there, and then we've got the concave reflection of the Seacoast Medical Edition, and it's showtime. Okay, so I've taken us for a ride in here and converted some of these videos to YouTube videos. I will probably do that with this one. And it's real obvious to see where the sun is right now, or at least where we see the light from the sun. There's mystery with the sun. I've had the opportunity to capture the sun appearing in the clouds many times, with approaching 1 million views of people seeing the work that I've captured. And many of you are aware of that. Many of you I've connected with as friends on Facebook as a result of that video that was titled Local Sun by Infinite Earth, or on Flat Earth Research. And they're continuing to expand here. I shared the website, the Facebook page. This is the Bridgewater Welcome Center, right in the middle of the view there, and the design gallery there. And so all of this takes money to develop, and it's obviously developing well. And what I want to illustrate is that it doesn't really cost much of anything for you to watch it. I mean, you've already paid for your Wi-Fi or your internet, your cellular data, all of that. We've got water seeking its level. The sprinklers shoot the water out, and then the water comes down. And you know what? Here, let's show you the Elvis Porta unit there. Thank you very much. We don't have toilet water flying out on people in Australia because of gravity. Well, hello, it's just water seeking its level. That's just what it does. Even the water that I'm having to take off of my windshield because of condensation, that's water seeking its level too. The air is cooling down. The windshield, the climate control, condensation forms. Then I wipe it with the windshield wiper. We've got finished structures there, concrete slab right there. They create it on the level. You can set up a pool table in there, like I've got in my bedroom. Actually, I've got a Select Comfort air mattress on top of my pool table. And I did that because I want to be able to play pool when it's 100 degrees and 100% humidity. And then the other thing is I've got a recording studio there. Okay, so I'm going to take us out for just a minute and show you a couple of things. The water seeks level, covers the face of the earth, doesn't conform to an external shape. Okay, we've got the sprinklers in the view shooting the water up. It's coming down. Relaxed water is flat and level. The wind is coming out of that direction. That's why there's ripples on the water there. The shape of this contoured area is causing the air to stack up and go over, and it's pretty calm right down there. The reflection there is right there. And there's the moon up in the middle once again. So there's the reality of the world we live in. And I found out some really interesting things about that. All the little concentric circles are like little skeeters and little life in there, whatever they are. I don't know exactly. But this is a liquid mirror. That's one of the points of that. So if I step on over here, I'll get a better view of the sunrise from right here. I don't really get any financial compensation for my activity. I do this simply because I want people to be aware of the world that we live in, the system of control, the matrix of control, the allegory of the matrix. I'm not saying we live in a computer simulation. That's not what I'm saying. There is a control mechanism that programs humanity using portable technology, worldwide communications, and I'm entering into the matrix. We all are, to a certain extent. The drips that are on the road right there are coming from my car. My climate control, that temperature differential is drawing the moisture out of the air. The moisture on the windshield, once again, same basic reality of that. So as this may seem real simple and basic, but consider this. When we get 2 inches of rain in 15 minutes because of a storm, these ponds will fill right up. The water will drain down the roads, go into the ponds. That's why we have the retention ponds that we do in this area. I've seen rainfall beyond anything I've ever experienced anywhere else. Some of the Canadians come and stay. Canadian geese there. Apparently they like it. Some of the snowbirds come here and stay here. I'd be one of them. We've been vacationing here for over 30 years and, living here for a decade now. So this is, I'll just pull on up here for a moment. So you can see that this has recently been shaped using heavy equipment like that to do that. And that's where the wastewater, the storm water will go. And then what will end up happening is that the sewage water will run a different path, obviously, and taken to a treatment center. Now, one of the I hope you can still. Please comment if there's a problem with the sound. I may have had an interruption in my sound transfer. But anyway, I wanted to take us on through here and just give you a little glimpse of what this looks like. Some of these gentlemen will end up going to my channel to see what I'm recording. There's a curiosity. And if they do, imagine that. They're going to find some interesting content there. Right here we've got a lot of dimensioned lumber. That's one way of constructing. Another way is with steel reinforced concrete. Commercial buildings largely are made with steel reinforced concrete heavily involved in it. Certainly parking ramps that are used to support vehicles and all of that use that technology because it's so strong. It's just the way that it is. All the roads are a little bit lower than the ground all around, designed to drain the water away. And then as a part of the Public Works project, all of the concrete pipe there will be used for this as well. And the roadway actually will have massive amounts of water draining away, draining the water away. That's just what it'll do. The when they put up a house and they start the project, this is a very desirable location, cul-de-sac, and what I'm gonna show you something here as well. What they'll do is they'll put in a porta unit so the crew can have a place to go, and then this is being formed up right now. So concrete seeks level as well. They want the water to stay next to the concrete. That's why the slab is, or the ground is protected like that, and it's going to create a stronger structure. All the plumbing goes in first, obviously. It's just easier that way. What I'm going to show you here is just kind of interesting that it's laying here like this. We've got an Aquafina bottle, condensation forming up above, a little liquid left in the middle, and that is level water, flat and level. That's what it does. That's how it works. I could set up, I've poured concrete, I could set up the forms with a liquid level, a garden hose. When a laser level is calibrated, they use a liquid level to do it most of the time. The water that covers the face of the earth is seeking level perpetually. We've got tidal activity, a celestial timepiece that works concurrently, telling us the times of the day, the seasons, and all of that, the sun, moon, and stars. The water will run down this road, go into these lower areas. The concrete slab is level. They won't want it tipping, but you can see that the contour of the ground drains away. That's just the way that it is. Now, there's other dynamics that are going into our society as well. I understand that one of the reasons Amazon prices are so low is because their whole operation is being supported by a very profitable business where they sell cloud storage to the rest of the world. Amazon is huge on the digital footprint of the world that we live in. And what I'm doing is riding along on that particular distribution of information right now. All of that infrastructure, all of the electricity that's generated by water seeking its level, whether it's hydroelectric power generated by water moving through turbines at waterfalls, and the largest dam in the world is in China, Three Gorges Dam. It's massive. And then we've got nuclear power heating up water to create steam that moves turbines. And you can heat up water with solar, natural gas, coal. Those are all means that are used as well. In a pressurized containment dome, you know, I've seen nuclear power plants. I can see the sun right now in my rear view mirror. So the and if I want to put that sun in the pond there, I could do that. That reflection, I would just have to line myself up. It's like playing pool, so to speak, only it's not just like billiards on a level plane per se, to calculate reflections of moving objects like the sun. So the sun is moving above the face of the earth, and so is the moon and the stars. So are the moon and the stars. So that reflection will continually change. The clouds are moving, creating a canopy that gives diffused lighting over the whole earth. Yeah, I should say diffused where it actually is. Okay, so want to go ahead and take us on out towards the beach here. What I wanted to do as well, I deactivated the commenting from friends only. I wanted to allow people to comment if they wanted to, so they can see what this is all about. And sometimes the interactivity of people being able to comment is an important dynamic in their wanting to even be on a broadcast. Yeah, my brakes are great. They just have a little dust on them, and they could use a little cleaning, but that's just the way that it is. Let me take us on through this direction where there's more houses being constructed. I have a 3D panel construction system that I've shown where it's a wire welded foam core insulated product that is shotcreted. That's where concrete is applied to the exterior. So you've got the thermal mass of the concrete sandwich creating a structure that can withstand winds of several hundred miles an hour and use half the energy to climate control. Huh. And it's faster to construct. The only reason to insure it is if you had a mortgage and they demanded it, but you can even get lower interest rates with companies that specialize in insuring concrete structures, because if you are entering into the actuarial tables of insuring homes of people that are building them out of wood, you're basically helping to cover their losses, because if you're not in a floodplain or you have your house elevated up high enough, there's very little damage that would occur to your house, because, well, a house that can handle several 100-mile-an-hour winds, wow, that's a big deal. The shotcreting is what they use to make swimming pools in some cases, in-ground swimming pools. They'll create a hole in the ground, put a wire mesh in there, and spray concrete. And now in this area, what they've done, they've gone to a lot of fiberglass swimming pools. They'll truck them in. They're not massive pools, but it all depends on the application. The palm trees do a real good job at diffusing some of the wind, and they're beautiful, provide a bit of shade. Cross over to the good life, it says. This is a nice development. I'm not anti-wood building. I'm just saying that it's a different method of construction method. I show it. It's also fireproof, basically. Concrete doesn't burn, and steel reinforced concrete with high performance glass could handle a wildfire burn all around it, and the building would be fine. Do you think a fire in the parking lot is going to matter to this building? Not at all. Not at all. How about if the electrical system is turned into a fire starter? Yeah, that'd be a problem. So we're looking at directed energy weapons that have been unleashed in areas like California, and it could happen here. It could happen anywhere. None of us are really safe from that, per se. I bring that up because what can happen is smart meters can allow a massive amount of electricity, or the ground can be electrified, and then the whole electrical system becomes a fire starter. You can look at the California wildfires and see that they weren't a campfire at all. In fact, there were developments that had intact forests all around, and the housing developments were completely incinerated. This isn't a doom and gloom broadcast, by the way. We should all be aware that we're, at least I would say we're all eternal beings having a temporary, here I have a problem with my mic again. Not good. Unfortunately, I've been having a little bit of a challenge with my mic setup. I'm trying to do the best I can. It was only $300 for it, but there's a connectivity issue evidently. We're approaching the Intracoastal Waterway, a little drop, and then up over the top. Ships go in and out of here. There's a harbor down below, and I'll want to show you what the sunrise looks like from this vantage point. Can't see the moon much anymore, too many clouds. So I'm running a pretty intense schedule to capture some of this. This is tidal affected too, and there's water treatment facilities down the way. And so what can happen when we have a storm surge, and based on like a hurricane, then the water treatment plants can have a problem. Yeah, getting rid of the sewage. That's one of the reasons why it looks like coffee. The surf does when we have a bad storm. Hurricane Matthew put water over the roads like 3-4 feet, depending on where it was. Hurricane Florence, coming up on a year now ago, it's actually the Waccamaw River backed up into our neighborhood. It was filling in all the lower lying areas. By the way, Walter, the rescue turtle, I saw him in our backyard the other day. He was going to drown in a drain. He couldn't get out, and the water was filling up. So although they can handle a lot of water, they've got to be able to stick their head up and get some air. Well, he wouldn't have made it. So we lifted up the drain, took him out, and set him in the pond in our backyard, or outside, and then he ran on over to it. It was pretty cool. I'm going to take us to the coastal preserve. You know, some people live their life in such a way that they've got to perpetually exceed the speed limit, apparently in their own mind. I just don't do it. Why would I? So that's just the way it is. Some people, I used to be that person. I would speed everywhere I would go. I showed this when it was being built. It's got a massive generator to handle power supply interruptions, and it's not just for the distribution of food and the cooling of the distribution and cooling of the food. It's also to do with the distribution of the financial exchange. Most of our exchanges are non-currency. They don't require cash. It's electronic. So if a pump doesn't get satisfied with the proper amount of digital current or digital evidence that you can pay for it, your credit card, It's not going to pump the fuel. If the electricity isn't there, it can't pump the fuel either. It's just the way that it is. So to ensure that that's going to take place, they've installed the system to do it. In the view right there in the middle is the water tower / cell tower and the coastal preserve that I'll be driving on over to. Straight ahead in the middle of the view is the open ocean out there. Down in the middle of the view at the end of the street, apparently about 2.5 miles away, is another water tower that's out at the point in Cherry Grove. Now, I know a lot of my friends are all freaked out about Wi-Fi and 5G and all that. I can't stop it. I can't stop it from happening, and I'll take a ride on it digitally. Remember, we've all got only a certain amount of, we've got an expiration date. We just don't know when it is. So all of those electronics actually give us a way to share the truth, expose the deception to the ends of the earth around the clock. Many of my friends are doing that, and I'm wanting to help YouTube the truth. YouTube truth. YouTube it, Google it, Bing it, whatever. Bing is one of the biggest search engines because it's the default search engine for Windows systems. If you look at some of the just some of the more recent videos that I shared, you'll see what I'm talking about. How this works. Why Amazon is so massive, so big. They can support their operation with their digital sales of digital cloud storage, because it's not very profitable to sell bananas. They're kind of tough. There's not a very long shelf life with bananas and other produce. It's very challenging indeed. I think now is time to go ahead and grab the P1000 and load it up on top of the, load it up and show you the sun appearing in the clouds. Again, looks like it's happening right now. It normally happens when it's low on the horizon. Oh, let me, I've got to do this real quick. Okay, this is Robert Forsch with the YouTube channel Truth. I've got a Facebook broadcast that will very likely be converted to a YouTube video, and I wanted to show the sun appearing in the clouds once again. You can hashtag local sun. I've got a lot of video to give strong, I believe, compelling evidence that the sun is close and moving. The earth does not move. We have a stationary earth, fixed, immovable, and then the sun, moon, and stars move above the face of the earth. And I'm looking for the moon right there. And I'm on it. You'll be able to see it. It's a bit of a challenge because of all the clouds, which is one of the reasons why we can't see all the continents, even with a powerful telescope. When clouds get in the way, we can't see it. Clouds, particulate, yes, they're modifying the weather. They're modifying the air we breathe with chemicals to change the rate and the timing of condensation. The water is seeking its level. Tide is going out right now. It's just what it does. The water fills in whatever container it's in, and we're real close to the ocean. There's about a couple mile-an-hour breeze right now. I'll zoom in on the structure right there and its reflection. The symmetry is perfect, indicating a stationary earth. The water is relaxed. That's what it does. The ground will maintain somewhat of a contour, That's just the way it actually is. And then the reflections follow the eyes of the observers. So that's pretty much how that works. Does it look like a porta unit could be upside down anywhere in the world in relationship to other porta units? That could be a problem. And if that were so obvious, why would so many people believe we still live on a globe? Well, it isn't. In many cases around me, if somebody is in my life, they know I'm outing what I believe to be the global deception, the global lie. Yet why do they still believe that lie? Well, it's beyond human capacity to understand some of these things. I accept the reality that God is sovereign, He's in control, and according to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, His word says to everybody forever, they refuse to love the truth and so be saved. For this reason, God sends them a powerful delusion. So there you have it. It's more than just Satan tricking people. It's God helping people believe the lie they apparently want to believe. Ouch. So the symmetry of the reflection is clear. I know this area really well, and based on the tidal activity and the percentage of the where and when the sun and moon are is all goes into play when I do a recording. Right now the water isn't really reflective because there's a film on it. Here that film, there is no film that I can see. It's beautifully reflected. Sometimes the film is just dust that's collected on the marsh grass and rinsed off by the tidal activity. A lot of minnows swimming around there. We've had up to, I've seen 8 foot bull shark in here. We had a catch and release of one. Caught it, cut the head off, and released it back out into the water to be crab and fish food. So what I want you to see right here, even though it's really the symmetry of all the reflections of the clouds above and on the water below, which is a plane mirror. We live on a stationary plane. The short version is the truth matters. We've got a limited amount of time to get the truth out and to expose the deception. Imagine in China and many areas of the world, there is not the free distribution and viewing of information. It's highly regulated. So in our world of apparent freedom, the distribution of information is highly regulated also, just differently. It's the illusion of choice. Isn't that special? That's what they do. They'll do it in such a way that it makes you think that you've got freedom, and what they're actually doing is recommending videos that lead you down the path that that the system wants you to believe. So it's an automated system that somewhat has an algorithm that's based on your previous interests, previous searches, and also where it wants to take you. Earlier this week on some YouTube broadcasts, there was mud down there, clam beds and that we could see. Now we can't see those. Huh. Well, it's the water reflecting. It's just what it does. I'm going to take us out to the open ocean now. I can feel, not only can I see the sunlight so much brighter, I can feel the intensity of it hitting me. So how does the sun actually work? You know, now hearing videos when they're explaining the universe and how many millions of tons of hydrogen and helium that are supposedly occurring in the sun, and they're saying it's 1.5 million Earth sizes and 93 million miles away, and whatever temperature they tell us it is. It's all a bunch of BS. Not buying it. They're lying. I ain't buying. How about that? Do you feel yourself spinning, wobbling, or gyrating? Well, if you do, you might want to seek some medical attention or something because the earth isn't moving. How about that? And it doesn't matter how many letters you've got around your name or digits in your Monopoly Money bank account. One day you're not going to be able to fog a mirror, and all this belief and talk about evolving from stardust and monkeys, and that's all baloney too. It was presented as scientific fact. It was science fiction, baby. How about that? I'm going to flip this around so it's in the proper view, proper orientation. So the sun actually appeared over there today from this vantage point, a bit left. It's been rising for a while. So to be clear, northeast is in the middle of the view, and northwest is in the middle of the view. Remember where I left in our neighborhood? So it's rising in the middle, setting in the middle. Huh. Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't work on the spinning, wobbling, and gyrating imaginary globe, except in the imagination, where it's, unfortunately for some, entrenched so deeply they can't see beyond the deception. Oh well, I'm trying to tell them. On my YouTube channel, Truth, you can go there if you like, and see a lot of powerful documentaries to expose the reality of the world we live in. The shape of the earth is almost kind of like a dashboard light. If you can believe that line of baloney, that there are people and stuff sticking to a spinning ball, that just goes to show you're obviously deceived. But pride is going to stop you from seeing that. So, yeah, and then there's people with a lot of credentials saying we're living in a simulation. I'm not buying that. I do believe we're living in a computer-programmed reality. People are programmed by powerful computer technology, cinematography, movies, music. Extreme Reality Check talked about Laurel Canyon, mind control, the different celebrity figures, Jim Morrison, Crosby, Stills and Nash, the Beatles. How about that? How about that? Jerry Garcia. Oh, isn't he a cool guy? Yeah, working for the establishment. Ooh, my light was on. There we go. A lot of friendly people, and then some that aren't. Oh well, that's one of the friendly ones. The drain is in the middle of the parking lot, down in the low spot. That just makes sense, doesn't it? In the middle of the view, it says dead end, no turnaround. There's a metaphorical significance to that as well in the eternal. Just that little puddle shows the simplicity of water exposing the impossibility of the globe. Well, I'm sure going to make sure I rinse off my brakes next time before I take us out on a ride like this. That squeaking is kind of bugging me, but oh well. That's just the way it is. It's a nice opportunity to show you a little different perspective. When you want, I wanted to show you just some of the dynamics of how this looks. The clam beds there will be covered, well, we'll see more of them. The tide rises and falls twice a day, a high and a low tide. It's called a diurnal tide. So when the people are driving by and they see my shirt and they see the car, some of them will go to my channel, some will not. I do my best to make the information available and then let God take care of the results. It's between God and the individuals. So the water is leaving here because, well, it's got a place to go because the water is leaving the coastal preserve there. That's just how it actually works. I've got a thumbnail for a video where I show the water coming in this direction and whirlpools spinning opposite directions right next to one another. Because some people will use the ridiculous assertion that the water spinning in a toilet is an example of the earth moving. Well, bummer. If that and some fake pictures from a supposed moon landing is all the evidence you need, well, bummer for you. A lot of my friends and family around the world are waking up to the reality that we're being lied to about that and much, much more. So there's a lot of activity, like water squirting, it looks like out of the clams or something. That is really interesting. I can't say that I remember ever seeing it like that before. One of the things that has happened for, coming up on 3 years now, I've had I've had a P900. Coming up on a year now, I've had the P1000. A powerful instrument of mass instruction. So I captured the local sun video with the P900, and it's got a lot of views and a lot of shares, and it has been a part of waking people up to, wow, that really looks like the sun is in the clouds. Yeah, it's because that's where it is. That's biblical and that's reality. It means that they're lying about so much deception. So, is it a conspiracy? For gosh sakes, 2 kids stealing a bicycle is a conspiracy. What is it when AI, artificial intelligence, projects a false reality on humanity that's going to have an eternal significance? Well, it's a big deal. And that's why I'm exposing it. I do it day and night, 24/7. It's happening right now. People loving and hating me, blocking me, unfriending me. Isn't that special? I'm good with it. It's not that I want to be blocked or unfriended. It just happens because some people are wanting to not focus on the truth or the reality that we live in. It's kind of like, give me the channel changer, some Red Bull and a pizza or a beer or a glass of wine and some relaxing music and a false reality, and let me just ponder science fiction. So they'll watch ridiculous programs like Nova, National Geographic, the Discovery Channel that are promoting a false reality. And NASA is at the tip of the sphere of deception. Yeah, how about that? Well, I'm doing whatever I can to expose that. Now, when I'm sleeping or almost sleeping, I'm listening to God's Word, typically. I say typically because sometimes I'll be updating my status and just fall asleep right there. Good morning, Sally. And this is the Prince Resort right here at the Cherry Grove Fishing Pier. We recently had the beach renourishment take place. And I've got a lot of video of that. We've got the small swimming pools here and the big one right there. We don't know the actual size. I don't anyway. The actual size or the shape of the puddle that the continents rise out of. And this is a south-facing beach, so, and it's curved. You can look at it, South Carolina, how this looks here. We're expecting about 20 million guests this year. We're a little over halfway through the season. Good morning, Ron. Good morning. And there's about 5 feet higher sand here now. What they did is they used dredging equipment to vacuum up sand off the bottom of the ocean and pump it up here with a submarine pipeline and move it around with diesel electric bulldozers. I've got it on my channel. You can see it if you care to. I'm going to zoom in on the young man on the smart device, a couple years old. A lot of children are on smartphones before they walk. There he is, there it is. And I'm not saying that's necessarily wrong. So when our sons would have probably been doing that too if we had them available We got them video game systems and all that. It was entertaining and freed up some of our time because our sons would be digitally distracted. And we've been doing it for years. Television has been one of the mass mind control / population controls for humanity. Television, music, fantasy, all of that. To a certain extent, at least there's an opportunity to hear some alternative views on the internet, on our portable computers. You know, early on we had cell phones. One of my neighbors has a bag phone. It looks like a big old walkie-talkie. I want to get it or use it for a photo op if I can, but kind of interesting. We've got a 1940s telephone in the house. I could use that, make it look like the President Nixon calling the astronauts supposedly on the moon. This is the 50th year anniversary of the moon landing hoax, just so you know. I'm outing NASA, the financial system of the world, the medical, military, industrial complex, Hollywood, all the mind control, artificial intelligence, all of that. Rather than try and hurriedly explain all the details of that, it's on my channel. It's on my Facebook. You can look it up if you care to. A lot of my subscribers don't really even have any content, and they don't have an active channel where it's sharing. They're consumers. Now maybe they've got another channel and a pseudonym that they're able to express themselves with. That's another option. You may be in a sensitive area where you can't jeopardize your identity and your perspective. You maybe don't want your perspective to be known. Well, ultimately, I would encourage everybody to seek the truth with all your heart, because it matters for eternity. This could very well be the last broadcast I ever do. The last recording. It may be the last day that I'm able to do this. Now, if we've met somebody digitally through television, they're in many cases still out there in reruns and that. I'm zoomed in on the moon, very challenging to see with the naked eye, yet I could zoom in through the clouds. All the different lives, all the different people, all the lonely people, where do they come from? And some people we meet seem to be well-adjusted and satisfied. What I would simply say for what's happened with me, I was actually born again roughly 4.5 years ago on Reformation Day, or Halloween, as the blood-drinking, human-sacrificing Satanists celebrate. And then they sweeten up the deal with candy distribution to make it fun for the kids. Kind of like Santa Claus, Satan Claus, nationalized fantasy for adults. How about that? Do you still believe the Santa lie? That's why I had the hat on top of the mirror at the Colorado Flat Earth Conference. Yeah, am I a bit eccentric, a bit unconventional? Yeah, hope you think so, because I haven't seen much going on like what's going on in me. I mean, it doesn't mean that there aren't other unusual people. It's just that God has a way of expressing himself through individuals that especially aren't afraid, and that's what you're looking at with me. Like I say continually, I'm not afraid to live, die, or tell the truth. That makes me dangerous to the deception that's being perpetrated in this world. So that's why I have an opportunity to do this, and I'll keep on doing it. So my recording with the P1000 is coming to a close, and I believe I'm going to end the broadcast very soon. No curvature on the horizon. That's obvious. 8 inches per mile squared. earthcurvature.com. You can check it out. But for the most important information, I encourage everybody to seek the truth with all your heart, because it's only by God's grace that anybody can love and believe the truth, let alone find it. This is Robert Forsch. Feel free to call me anytime. All my contact information is public, and I encourage you to call if you like. Thank you so much.